One genre of games that I'm an absolute sucker for are online first-person shooters, and well, the Nintendo Switch is definitely lacking in that department. I mean, you got Doom, which is a great game, but it's not really a war shooter like a Call of Duty or something like that. And honestly, I really enjoy those kind of games. Now, we did have Modern Combat come out for the Switch, which was, I guess, serviceable, I suppose, but it just didn't scratch that Call of Duty itch that I had. Well, now a new game has popped up on the Nintendo Switch called Warface, and it's a free-to-play, war-based first-person shooter, so immediately it had my interest. I went ahead and downloaded it off the Australian eShop so I could play the game early, and I have spent quite a bit of time with this game. So is Warface a Nintendo Switch game worth playing, and is it the Call of Duty experience that Switch owners have been longing for? What's up guys, I'm RGT85. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, but without any further ado, let's get into the world of Warface for the Nintendo Switch and see if it's a game that you need to be playing. So let's get the elephant out of the room, so to speak. Warface is obviously a free-to-play first-person shooter game, so are there microtransactions in the game? Well, yes, there's microtransactions out the ass, but they don't really impact the game the way you think they would. Every game mode, every class, and every level in the game is available to you for free with no microtransaction required. The game does have 3 forms of currency, 2 of which you get by playing the game and 1 of which you have to buy with actual money. The first form of currency that are free are called crowns, which you get by playing in the player versus environment or PvE missions and beating your high scores. These are reset daily so that you can earn more crowns. The second form of currency is called Warface dollars. Now, Warface dollars are simply gotten by playing the game and doing well in online matches. The third form of currency are called credits, with a K I guess to be cool, and these are the ones you have to pay actual real-world money for. Credits unlock things like different skins, different weapons, and boosters for your character. The weapon unlocks with credits are timed only though, so it's primarily for buying things like skins and whatnot. Now yes, technically you can get access to better weapons temporarily by purchasing credits, but a gun is only as good as the guy holding it, so I didn't really notice any sort of advantage by using credits to purchase things. I never spent a single dime with this game so far. I simply played the game using the in-game currency to purchase things, and well, I was pretty dominant in the game. Now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about the actual game Warface, because honestly, there is a lot of stuff to cover with this game. Now, like I said, Warface is a war-based first-person shooter with 2 main components to the gameplay: player versus environment or PvE missions, or player versus player PvP missions. You choose from one of 5 different classes: a rifleman, a medic, an engineer, a sniper, or a sen. Each class has their own unique strengths and weaknesses. For example, a rifleman has access to a wide variety of assault rifles and can actually replenish ammunition for themselves or teammates in battle. A medic, on the other hand, will use things like shotguns and can actually revive people within a certain time limit. Each class has their own weapons that are limited to the class of your choosing, so it's best to figure out which class you like the most. The oddball class has to be the Sen though, which honestly looks a hell of a lot like a T-1000 from the Terminator movies. The Sen has no real sub-weapons or anything like that, but has a chain gun that is based on a heat level. If it overheats, basically you can't use the gun for a little bit. It's fun to mess around with the Sen honestly though, and it does shake the game up quite a bit. Player versus environment missions are broken up into 2 different types. There's co-op and there's spec ops. Each has a different difficulty level, but with a major difference. In co-op, you could replay the missions as many times as you like, while in spec ops, you have to use these special things called access tokens, which you can acquire with in-game currency in order to play them. They play out roughly the same though. You're dropped into a squad of 5 people with a task, and this is essentially the story mode of the game. Now, the game doesn't offer any sort of offline game, it's all online, so this is all you're getting and you cannot play anything offline. You are given some information as to what you are doing within this mission, and then you set off to accomplish these tasks with your teammates. You basically take out different enemies, but the game does a nice job of having some diversions in the missions as well, such as commandeering a boat, taking out enemy planes, and much more. If you get taken out during a mission, you can either use a revive coin, which costs actual money to buy, be revived by a medic, or if your teammate makes it to a checkpoint in the mission, you are automatically revived along with full ammunition. I honestly enjoyed the missions, and there's some sub-missions and sub-things you have to do as well that are random within these that allow you to get more crowns in the game, such as getting a certain amount of headshots with the pistol so that you can buy additional stuff within the game. Also, if you play with a friend on your Nintendo Switch friends list, you can use voice chat, which is pretty cool as well. Honestly though, the PvP or player versus player is where I spent a majority of my time with the game, because that was the thing that I really wanted to see. Was this a real Call of Duty experience? Was this a fun first-person shooter? Now in PvP, there are 5 different modes to choose from. You have Team Deathmatch, you have Storm, in which one team captures points on the map and the other team has to defend, Blitz, which has you defusing a bomb before time runs out, Plant the Bomb, which has you blowing up an enemy base, and Free for All. Now Blitz and Plant the Bomb are 1 life only missions, but this is where the medic comes into play, because a medic can heal a downed character within a certain time frame. Each game will reward you with money and 2 forms of points, XP, which are experience points, and VP, which are vendor points. XP is pretty much what you'd expect and levels up your character, but VP is way more important in this equation. Before a match starts, you choose from one of 3 different options on how to spend your VP, either by using it to unlock a new weapon, a new piece of armor, or a new weapon accessory. The VP earned in that match will then go towards unlocking that until you change it. So yes, you still unlock stuff by playing the game, which makes it feel a lot like your standard Call of Duty game. There's tons of different weapons and attachments to unlock, and the armor upgrades that you unlock actually improve your character's stats as well, so it's good to upgrade all 3 of these as much as possible. Now obviously you've seen a ton of gameplay footage of the game so far, but once you get out onto the field, that's where the fun really begins with this game. It honestly feels a lot like a Call of Duty game, but I don't mean that in a bad way. There are specific maps for specific mission types, but I found myself playing TDM the most. Most of the TDM maps that I played were pretty fun, and I felt like there was a decent enough balance in the maps to allow for a bunch of different playstyles. If you want to just hang out and perch and snipe, you can do that. If you want to go balls out with an Uzi, you can do that. Each map has certain points on it where you can boost up another teammate to reach higher access areas as well. Now the maps themselves are a bit cliche in TDM with your standard stuff, a jungle, a war-torn city, a dock. It's honestly pretty run-of-the-mill, but it feels fun enough to make you want to keep playing the game. Maps also seem to be randomly cycled out as well, as on the first day I was playing different maps than I was on the second day, and I didn't see those maps that I played on the first day quite as often. The gunplay feels rather tight once you find a gun that you really like, and different classes really do feel different when playing the game. You can run, you can crouch, you can slide, you can jump, pretty standard stuff for a first-person shooter. Graphically speaking, the game is serviceable, but nothing too spectacular. Textures are mostly clean, but I found the jungle level to look just a bit ugly, honestly. The game does look better in docked mode than in handheld mode, where in docked mode it appears to be about 720p and handheld is probably closer to 540p. It's still decent enough though, and you can get a good impression of the game's visuals in this footage, and there are some nice little effects here and there. The frame rate is also very solid throughout, with an occasional hiccup here and there with the online fluttering. Now as far as complaints are concerned with Warface, I do have a few. Some of them are more important than others. On a personal level, I would have liked to have seen at least some sort of offline play. In order to access this game whatsoever, you have to be online and you have to be connected to the Warface servers, which isn't a huge deal, but it would have been nice to have at least some sort of offline missions, maybe a little bit of story things, maybe just being able to play the PvE missions by yourself offline to sort of get a feeling for them. I don't know, it's not a huge deal, but it is something I wanted to mention. Now what's a bigger deal is the fact that this game honestly does a real piss poor job of explaining a lot of things, so be sure to use this video as both a guide and a review. For instance, I played this game for hours, unlocking different attachments for weapons, but I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to equip them. I checked menus, I checked progress status, I checked everything in this game, and I couldn't figure out how to put on my weapon attachments. Well, it turns out when you're actually in a match, you press left on the D-pad, and it brings up all the weapon attachments you can use for the gun that you have at this time. The game never tells you anything like that though, which I honestly found to be very, very frustrating. Also things like the XP and the VP, the different forms of currency, the game just doesn't really tell you much about what it does and how to use it, so you have to figure it out on your own, which just kind of makes for a steeper learning curve than I felt is really necessary. Another thing is the leveling up system seems to take quite a long time. Now I've put about 13 or 14 hours into the game so far, winning a ton of matches, TDM matches, free-for-all matches, and my character is just a level 10. Now, allegedly, there's at least 70 levels to unlock in this game, so I just find it strange that it takes so long in order to unlock things. Now, I suppose they want you to keep playing the game, or possibly buying some credits to unlock XP or VP boosters, but hopefully they do some things like double XP weekends or something with this game, because I can see people being frustrated that they aren't leveling up quickly enough. Overall though, the positives far outweigh any negatives that I had with this game, because it is a free and fun war-based first-person shooter that the Nintendo Switch has desperately needed for quite a while now. It's about a 7.5 gig download, so go ahead and clear some space off your Nintendo Switch, because Warface needs to be on your system, and you know what? I'm gonna kick your ass when I see you online. Alright, so that is my review of Warface for the Nintendo Switch. There's definitely a learning curve. It can definitely feel a bit overwhelming at times, but once you sort of learn everything, all the different sort of XPs and VPs, all the different mission types, and well, how to put attachments on your weapon, you will definitely have a great time with this game. The Nintendo Switch has really needed first-person shooters, and I'm glad to see this game come to the system. So let me know in the comments section down below if you have checked out Warface yet, or if you plan on checking out Warface. I mean, it's free. I don't see why you wouldn't want to check it out. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. Like I said at the start, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to check out other videos on the channel, and as always, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.